All right, we are going to go ahead and get started now. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us at Winning at Brand to Local Marketing, how to scale local customer growth while staying on brand. Let's go ahead and do some introductions here. My name is Nick Zeke Lopez. I'm the Director of Product Strategy and Product Marketing here at MessageGears. And today I'm joined by two of our friends and partners at Sageflo. Bernice, could you introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Bernice Fung. I'm head of growth here at Sageflo, and I am excited to share a little bit more about how we have partnered with MessageGears today.
And Aaron.
Hey there, I'm Aaron Smith. I head up the team here at Sageflo. Likewise, I'm excited to be here and share some tips on success in brand to local marketing with y'all.
Awesome, thank you guys. Before we really dig in, let's give a quick overview of what Sageflo and MessageGears are. Guys, what is Sageflo?
So we're a company, our team is made up of folks that are either technologists or have worked in the trenches on the agency side, working with enterprise and mid-market marketers. Really, we've got decades of experience at this point in time, and what we've done is taken that experience and built out products and solutions that help marketers be more effective in their day-to-day execution. So that's kind of what our passion is helping our peers do better work.
Awesome. On the MessageGears side, we are a customer marketing platform that exists to take away data friction and help marketers use their data better and tear down the barriers that separate tech from good marketing. We have 3 products there: a segmentation engine, our core messaging product, and a real-time contextual product called Engage. And we exist to help marketers use data to make better marketing. Speaking of marketing, let's just start a little bit. Aaron, can you tell me why quick serve restaurants and other industries might care more about local marketing?
Yeah, so local marketing is really different than a big national brand that kind of speaks to people in the same voice, whatever city they might be in. But I think distributed businesses, quick serve restaurants, property management, sports teams, there's lots and lots of these types of businesses. And even national brands have the same issue. I would say in a perfect world, your local marketing teams are reaching out to their customers on a regular basis with all the tools that you have available for the brand team as well. But speaking to them in a way that resonates on a local level. So it could be that they're referencing local topics like a sports team that's in the playoff runnings, or a local sightseeing spot, highlighting products and offers that maybe are only available in that region from the company. People love to buy from people they know and care about. They like to patronize businesses where there's a deeper connection, right? And so when you're telling the marketing story locally, it creates that deeper relationship with your customers. So that's the ideal, right? We want to empower our local brand marketers to speak to customers in a voice that resonates with them. But it's a lot of work to get there. It takes a lot of coordination. It's not particularly easy. I say it takes the 3 C's: coordination, cooperation, and collaboration, which is quite a mouthful. And Bernice has some great points on some of what makes this hard, despite, there's always will to do it, but the ability to get it done can be harder than the desire.
Thanks, Aaron. That's right. Yeah, scaling marketing programs for corporate marketers with distributed teams and senders is incredibly time-consuming and complicated without the right tools. The amount of work that it would take to send, you think about thousands of campaigns on behalf of their local constituents would require additional resources and headcount on the corporate level. And second, most of the time, marketers prefer not to hand over the keys to their marketing automation platform. And on top of all this, oftentimes distributed teams aren't marketers by trade. So even if they did have access to, say, a corporate marketing platform as an option, trying to train and enable someone who's a restaurant manager or an independent business owner on an enterprise marketing system would just require more support, and it's definitely not ideal. So, what we've been hearing is teams want a better solution that don't require large upfront investments in time, internal resources, or additional headcount.
That's absolutely right. And like Aaron mentioned, this isn't just for things like quick serve restaurants. This is insurance companies, banking with telling, media companies, sports, multi-level marketing, and really any business where there are the franchise idea, or the idea where local marketing would improve the message over a brand marketing. To Bernice's point there, it's not any single one part or department's fault, and it's not something that anybody doesn't want to do. But traditionally, there have been a lot of things that have gotten in the way here. So, can one of you guys run me through the options today if a company would like to get into local brand to community marketing, what they have to do?
Well, yeah, typically the thing is there really are no purpose-built solutions. Well, we have one, but typically there really aren't a lot of purpose-built solutions out there. So most companies have to build themselves, and it's going to be a very large IT investment, 6 to 12 months, maybe longer. And they're going to have either outside consultants or their IT teams building this, but they're not necessarily being built by people with marketing savvy and understanding of the end users. So it's going to be something that is built more to keep the cost down, and then is probably going to just go into maintenance mode where it's not necessarily going to be getting a lot of love either. So we see, we talk to a lot of companies that have some solutions in place, but they could be better. They're not they're not actively being enhanced or worked on, and I think that's one of the hardest things. And Bernice mentioned this too. Another option, and I would say it's really not ideal, is giving access maybe to hundreds of potential local marketers. It could be franchisees. It could be people that spend most of their day behind a cash register. You don't necessarily want to give them access to log into MessageGears or whatever your ESP might be, because they're going to futz around. They could end up deleting a segment or a list. They're not really technically savvy folks either. So they really need something that works for them. This last option here, I would say, is not, it's not a good option. Doing nothing, but that's what a lot of people do. They basically throw up their hands and they say, okay, you know what? We're not really going to solve this. What we're going to do is we're going to ask our national team, our brand marketers, to kind of carry the weight for all these different people that could actually be making life easier for your brand marketers. And for those of you on the phone that maybe do this, it's hard work, right? Because now you've got hundreds of different constituents, and somebody's upset because maybe you're talking about something that happened in one part of the country that has nothing to do with where they're at, and yet you're never talking about their region. You're never really talking about things that matter to them.
Exactly, and just thinking about even in the event space too, the ability to if someone likes a certain event, making it super easy for them to be remarketed, segmented, but in a way that the people that are closer to, the people that have that knowledge, have a good understanding of. Which, as I understand it, is why we are bringing Radiate to market. Can you tell me a little bit more about what Radiate is and how it solves a lot of these problems?
Sure, yeah, I can tell everyone a little bit more about Radiate. It's a solution we built for large distributed teams and integrates directly with MessageGears. It empowers teams to easily send their own emails on their own time with their own resources, code-free, while they're using templates, images, and audience segments that have been pre-approved by a corporate marketing team, but using a simple and powerful interface. So putting together a marketing campaign for someone that may not be a marketer is simply a matter of clicks. And we're really excited to show you how that works today.
Yeah, and it goes almost back to what Aaron said. I don't think up until this point there's been we'll say, off-the-shelf product that solves these issues. And I think it's really exciting that we've been able to do it. And And with that being said, I'm actually going to hand control over here to Aaron. Could you show us a little bit of what Radiate is and what it can do?
Yep, I'd be more than happy to. Okay, so you all should be seeing a screen here of Radiate, and this is what we're looking at this from the view of a local marketer. So this is designed again for folks that, like I was saying, maybe they spend their day on their feet talking to customers. They could be behind a cash register. You know, they could be working in the back office. They're not used to probably working with really complicated marketing automation platforms. And so what we want to do is just make things as simple as possible for them to get a campaign out the door. And by hooking it up to MessageGears, what's amazing is all of the campaigns still go out through MessageGears. So the brand team is still capturing, you know, at the larger level, opens, clicks, you know, all the stuff you need to know if somebody is highly engaged in that channel or not. But it gives your local marketers the ability to reach out to folks that might be local to them. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a campaign in here. Let's just pick Toy of the Week here. And as we talked about, you know, there's different templates in here, and I'll just quickly show you what those look like. So there's different layouts that people could pick. I'm going to go back to that one because I like the robot. It makes me happy. I'm never good at copywriting, so I'm a big ham when it comes to that. Deal. Yeah, we'll leave that to the pros. I'm definitely not a marketer, but just to show you, you know, the flexibility they have in here. Typically, what we do is we'll work with the corporate team to set up image libraries that can be used that are available to folks. So it's brand approved guidelines here. People can edit. They've got some ability to change formatting of different sections if we want to let them do that. And, you know, I can just type right in here. We can go to the next step. Maybe, you know, in this case, we might want to show a coupon as well. So we've got this optional section that can be turned on or off. And I'm just showing you the flexibility in terms of being able to edit text and whatever your heart desires. So you can see it's really simple for somebody. Again, they don't have to know anything about HTML coding. They can also preview what it's going to look like on different devices in here. And then we'll talk about this in a few minutes more in a little bit more depth. But we have the ability to really easily hook this up to audience segments in MessageGears without having to create lots and lots of filters or have a huge amount of maintenance around that either. So it's very easy to get down to the local level without it being a large headache to maintain. And then we can do additional things like, you know, picking even more segments. Maybe we want to pick customers that are active. Finally, what we'll do, and in this case, I want to send a proof out to myself first. Typically, your local marketer would do that. They'd be able to look at it. And then once they're happy with what they've seen, that would go to my inbox. They would click submit, and that is now going to put that in the queue for the brand team to take a look at that when they're ready. So that that's a very quick overview of what the experience looks like for a local marketer.
So,
so now, Nick, back over to you. Let's talk a little bit more about how we set that stuff up.
Just getting a couple questions here in the chat. So as I understand it, the marketer is able to create kind of guardrails for what the local, I would say, distributed team will be able to do. That's correct? Are there limits to what that can do? Like, do you only get so many templates? Can you talk me a little bit through what the marketing team might do?
Yeah, sure. So that's another thing that's really nice. The templates themselves live inside of MessageGears. And there's really no limit, although typically what we see with our customers is they kind of find a sweet spot usually around 5 or 6 templates. You don't necessarily want to overwhelm your end users in this case, who are going to be those local marketers, with too much for them to think about either. So being really smart about having purpose-built templates is a really good idea, but there's no limits on that. And then same thing, with stuff around audience segmentation. We found that giving people more choice, honestly, leads to just more questions. And so again, there's no limits on that, but what we found is most people are really happy with being able to limit things sort of geographically and by some type of segment of audience type, typically
Sure.
how engaged they might be. And then like if you're a quick serve restaurant, it could be, are they like a breakfast person or a dinner person?
Right. Or the breakfast or dinner people, which I know they're out there. I'm not one, and I don't understand them, but that's neither here nor there. But I think that's interesting that you don't want to get into analysis paralysis for the distributed team. Being able to make it as clear cut as possible, but like you were showing, making the very clear things. Do you have a call to action? Do you have a coupon? What is the core message here? Before not sending, but promoting it to the marketing or the corporate marketing team. Another question here is that the header and body images that the end users pick from in Sageflo for a particular email, where do those images live? Is that in MessageGears or is that in Radiate?
It could actually be anywhere. So it's pretty flexible how we set that up. It could be a CDN on your site as well, that the marketing team manages. So there's a lot of options for how that goes. Ultimately, when you're deploying the campaign, you're definitely going to want to make sure that the images are hosted on some sort of CDN.
Right.
So typically it would be linked to MessageGears, or it could be your own CDN. Yeah.
Sure. So I'll go ahead and walk through a little bit of info here. Thank you very much, Aaron, for showing us the distributed view of Radiate there. I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about how, a little bit of the engine that powers a lot of what's happening. So what is making this work? Why is MessageGears a good partner, and why has Sageflo decided to partner with MessageGears to create it? So there's a few reasons, right? So we are, the world's only customer marketing platform that connects directly to a brand's data source. Many other ESPs require a large migration of data. You have to send them your data. You have to map your data to their data environment. That in itself, ignoring the distributed marketing, is usually a fairly big project and leads to fairly long migration times. But especially when considering the distributed nature of what we're talking about, and a lot of what Aaron just showed, the ability to utilize your data at rest live is a big difference maker here. That and the fact that we have an open suite of APIs that we expose directly to Sageflo Radiate. So the fact that everything you saw as being in that user interface is controlling a lot of the templating language, a lot of the personalization, a lot of the dynamic content in MessageGears, in our rendering engine through the APIs. When you bring these things together, let's talk about what that data access means. So when we think of what data access is, when we think of like what marketers think of what data access is, we see a lot of this here, a lot of messy SQL, a lot of confusing tokenized, parameterized queries. But what we've turned that into is the ability to take some SQL like this and turn it into what you just saw Aaron have there, a very easy drag and drop or clickable access list that allows any distributed team, any marketing team really, to not need to dig in and understand how to write SQL, Postgres or otherwise, but to be able to abstract that to what do you need to know. Something, Aaron, that you said that I thought was interesting is you almost don't want to give too much choice, because you get into this analysis paralysis, right? If there are 250 unique combinations, that's not what you want your distributed teams worrying about. The ability to quickly and very straightforward pick from your main audiences is a big differentiator here in what we've brought to the market. Aaron, can you comment at all, or Bernice, on why a launch, the MessageGears feature of launch variables is different from what another ESP might offer?
Yeah. Well, I can talk to that because we've done some integrations with other ESPs, and the go-to-market timeline with MessageGears is just so short because of your launch variables. So without that capability, so essentially what it allows you to do is parameterize, now I'm using tech words, what could be really complicated, behind the scenes, it is complicated SQL, but it's very easy to set up. It doesn't require writing every different version. You don't have to, if you've got 800 different stores, you don't have to create 800 different filters. You only need to create one at the store level. And same thing for those other audience segments. They can be set up so that essentially if we pass through values for those parameters, they'll be used. And if we don't pass them through, then they're not. So it really, you can just have one filter that can work in literally thousands of different varieties, right? Let's take an example of 800 stores and 10 different customer segments and 3 different types of toy profiles, right? So we've got 30 times 800. So that's 2,400 right there. 2,400 different permutations. And, doing this in other ways, you might actually have to create those 2,400 different ways of getting to that level of granularity. So it's really flexible and easy. And it's also easy and quick to set up. So not only is it easy to maintain, it also doesn't take a long time to get in place. We just loved working with you guys.
Oh, well, we appreciate that. And as a token of your love, can you show us a little bit of what Radiate looks like to the marketing team, to probably a lot of people that are on this webinar today, what they might see when they log in?
Yeah. Here we go. It's not actually going to look all that different. Hang on one second. I just got to get the webinar console out of the way so that I can navigate around here. Okay, so looks almost the same as what we saw before, except now we're looking at all the groups combined. So you can go in as a marketing manager, you can take a look at what your different, your teams are working on. So these guys just have one campaign coming up. These guys don't have anything. Potter's got a whole bunch. They're really active. And this is also going to be pretty typical. I'm sure for those of you that are on the call that might work with teams like this, you'll find that, you have a really wide variety. You've got some of these local marketers that are really engaged and they want to do a lot, and they do a lot. And then you've on the other end of the 80-20 spectrum, you've got the, the 20% that are unengaged. So it's really more like a 20-60-20 spectrum. At any rate, what you'll see in here is what everyone is working on. You can also take a look at it in a calendar view, which is really nice just to kind of see, okay, there's, 3 different groups that are sending out campaigns on this day, and that's all going to be fine because they're going to their stores that they own. So there's no overlap there, but that could help you with your planning as well. And then to have some guardrails, we have an optional feature that you can enable, which allows you to review and approve campaigns as well. So you could come in here, you could take a look at things and you could say, yeah, you know what, that looks all right. I'm going to go ahead and say approve on that. And that'll go ahead and schedule this campaign. It takes just a minute to tie all those bits up, but now that's actually queued up and ready to go out next Tuesday. And then let's take a look at this other one here. Maybe I see something in here, it looks like they didn't actually do anything. They just sort of started their campaign and submitted it, but it's not talking about anything. So in this case, I might send a message back to them and looks like you need to put in an offer. Main body. So that is going to send a notification to them. And when they log in, they'll see in their list that there's changes needed to that campaign as well. So pretty similar. And then I can just kind of, drill down to if I wanted to just see what I need to do, things that require action, I can also filter in this way. And then I can also, you'll have to forgive us because our demo account doesn't actually have a lot of historical data. But for real campaigns, real groups, and real users, when you come in here, you can also see how active your different operating groups, your different local marketers are, how many campaigns they've created, how many they've scheduled and sent, when the last one went out, you know, what the audience reach is for those different folks over time as well. So that's really helpful also in just managing those relationships with your different local marketing teams. And now I will say back to you, Nick.
Excellent, thank you. So that's exciting. And it looks, what's cool to me is the ability that the distributed team has, I would say, a lot of flexibility and control, but the ultimate control and kind of guardrails of what they can do are set in corporate marketing. Bernice, can you tell me anything about why Radiate in itself, when enabling these kinds of functionality, is a superior, or why it's such a good off-the-shelf product?
Yeah, sure. We've been talking a lot about that, right? You know, the time savings, you know, the reduction in resources that are needed. But, you know, I think that the proof is in the pudding when you look at the numbers. And our customers are seeing real results using Radiate and MessageGears. One of the biggest challenges that many solutions have is the implementation time. And being able to actually implement Radiate within 6 weeks or under 6 weeks to be able to send a message out is incredible for these teams that really had no other solution prior to that. And the other thing is that the teams can then refocus the time that they've saved on more strategic initiatives. So, you know, we've talked a lot about the 60-20-20 rule or the 80-20 rule. You know, marketers are always strapped for time. And unfortunately, most of that time is spent on administrative implementations or, you know, data gathering. This is a solution that can really help flip that 80-20 rule back in the right direction. I think the best part is the ROI that our clients see, and you can see here, you know, what they're seeing with increased average basket price or, you know, average order is really what impacts the business overall.
And just to give a little bit of detail for that, with typical implementations for in-house or ISV, so much of that time, literally months of time, are spent, and you guys can talk to this, shipping data, aligning with data, making sure that the data is there. Like Aaron, you were saying earlier, creating, if you have 800 stores, perhaps you only have 800 stores, creating 800 different audiences, or the 2,400 you discussed. With Sageflo and MessageGears, it's really as easy as connecting MessageGears to the data, creating those audience filters, whether they be, you know, 3 or 10, and then loading those email assets that we talked about and kind of schedule. That ROI, I mean, it's right there. We've taken it from a 9-month, a 6 to 9 month, if 9 months, maybe 12 plus, down to a handful of weeks, typically 3 weeks. And that's where so much of that ROI comes in, is just the speed to market. And when I say off the shelf, it is as close to off the shelf as a product like this can get. We do have a quick question before we wrap up and talk about really just all the reasons that a brand might do this. Can you guys talk? I can talk from the MessageGears side, but on the Radiate side, can you talk about what kind of analytics or information that the local marketer might have versus the corporate marketer for those kinds of sends, even high level?
Yeah, that's another thing that MessageGears makes really easy for us to give back to the local marketers. So thanks to your guys' really robust API, post-launch, it's easy to give people the ability to see those basic marketing analytics, opens, clicks. And again, you know, what we've seen is some local marketers, that means nothing to them. You know, for those of us on the call, that's like heresy, right? Like we live, breathe, eat, sleep, and dream, you know, marketing metrics. But you're going to have you're going to have a subset of your local marketers that are really engaged, that want to use that information. And Bernice talked about that a few slides back. Giving them that insight actually helps them see, oh gosh, you know, I didn't think about doing a good subject line and it was lame and my open rates weren't very good. And then I put some thought into it, look at how much better it was. So they start to become better marketers as well, without you on the brand team's side having to spend so much time educating them.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. I saw a couple questions come in at the end while we had I kind of kicked off on the ROI journey. So Bernice, can you sum up just for us on top of the ROI, just in your words, why MessageGears and Sageflo Radiate is the tool for local brand to local marketing?
Yeah, I would say the first thing that really comes to mind is the simplicity of it. Just like you said, Nick, it's as close to off the shelf as you can get. And we've all been in software for a long time. If something isn't simple to use, the customers aren't going to use it. We don't want something like this to sit on the shelf. So the ease of implementation and the simplicity, not only for the corporate marketing teams, we're alleviating, hours upon hours of work that would be nearly impossible to scale with, typical teams without adding additional resources. And then also making it simple for, your everyday user. Just imagine someone who has, never taken a marketing course in their life, and they're able to now send out messaging at scale to hundreds, if not thousands, of their customers in a way that is relevant and timely and personalized, and something that corporate marketing team just wouldn't be able to do.
That's absolutely right, and I do love this this last bullet point to that point of engaging the local marketers, making them feel like they're owning that message, because ultimately, in many cases, that's their store, that is their brand, that is their event that they are powering. So we have time for a Q&A. I do see a couple questions here coming in, but more important than the Q&As is if you have any questions, please feel free to contact any of us. We've got our emails there, but we're happy to talk more about this. I don't mean to speak for Bernice or Aaron, but this is something I'm a little bit passionate about. A question that did come in just now that I saw right before we went to the Q&A slide breaks down to how do corporate marketers use Radiate? And I think the question is, how does Radiate pair with these oftentimes very large global corporate sets, right? So, and that's more on the MessageGears side of the house as well. So while MessageGears powers Radiate and is used by hundreds or thousands of individual local either franchisees or local teams, MessageGears is still a enterprise ESP product that the corporate marketer can log directly into and send other mailings as well. Question for you guys: how does is Radiate at all affected by that? And is there a limit to how many stores you would recommend, or I say stores, local marketing units, if you will, that you'd recommend Radiate be used for?
That's a great question, and that's really the use case we built the tool for. So, typically, marketing automation platforms like MessageGears are built for teams of a few dozen, maybe even 40 or 50 people, but it's not built to scale out to having hundreds, maybe thousands of users in. And Radiate is built for that use case. So we can support literally thousands of people logged in at the same time for a given organization. We can have, a lot of our models are built to support distributed and franchise type businesses as well, where you could have different business owners that have different users assigned within that group as well, where maybe that franchise owner or operator has 40 stores, but they only want to give one of these managers access to 5 of those stores, a local store manager. So local within local. What's really nice is because of those use cases, you don't have to, mix things up. We built it for those types of users and their use cases, while the brand team is still able to leverage all the power and amazing flexibility of MessageGears directly.
Excellent. And we are coming up on time here. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me, and thank you so much for partnering with MessageGears to get the message out. Any last words, local marketing, Radiate, or really anything else on your mind? Awesome.
Thank you, Nick. Yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing our contact information here. Like you mentioned, we are happy to take questions offline as well, and are excited to continue that conversation with everyone in attendance today.
Well, thank you so much, everybody, for attending. Thank you very much for Bernice and Aaron for being great partners and helping me, helping us walk through Radiate. And I look forward to talking more about this later. The webinar will be available via recording after this, and the transcript will be provided as well for people that maybe couldn't make it or have other questions. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.